Saturday, May 12th, we want you at Gresham Motorsports Park in Jefferson, Georgia for the Racing Radios 100 as the super late models invade the king of the short tracks, along with the always speedy Outlaw Lates, the trucks, the door-banging mini-stocks and renegades. Saturday, May 12th. Go to racegmp.com for more information. The super late model Racing Radios 100. You know what to do.
Today on Raceweek Illustrated Garage Talk, we look at a big weekend of super late model action featuring a Georgia winner. We sit down with Georgia Racing Hall of Famer Charlie Mincey, and we review other recent racing action. All that coming up next on Raceweek Illustrated Garage Talk. Hi folks, I'm Brandon Rigg alongside my broadcast colleague Doug Turnbull. Welcome to Raceweek Illustrated Garage Talk. We've got so much to talk about this week, so let's just get straight on into today's headlines. Kyle Busch took advantage of a late race gaffe on a pit stop by Tony Stewart to snag the Sprint Cup victory in Saturday's Capital City 400 at Richmond. Mike Garvey scored the super late model win at Flags Speedway last week, while an on-track incident has put defending pro late model champ DJ Vanderlei on the sidelines for the rest of 2012. More on that in a few minutes. Ricky Taylor and Max Angelelli win the rain-shortened Rolex Grand Am event at Homestead, and Will Power scores his third straight IZOT IndyCar victory on the streets of Sao Paulo in the final event prior to this month's Indy 500. You can read more about these and more headlines at RaceweekIllustrated.com. Doug, just an incredible weekend of racing, from all of the events that we saw, from NASCAR to Ricky Taylor, who we had on the show last week.
Wayne Taylor Racing
the win with Max Angelelli and the Grand Am race at Homestead. Hey, that's it. We've got a Raceweek Illustrated Garage Talk bump and play. That's it. If you want to win, guys, you got to come on the show and talk to us.
Maybe she got Kyle Busch or Tony Stewart, rather, on the show
if
last week.
If we had Tony,
you know, wanted her.
Might have. Now, how did some of our Georgia drivers do in NASCAR action?
Yeah, we know it's important to a lot of you guys how our local kids did. A 19-year-old Casey Roderick from Lawrenceville finishing 23rd in his return to Randy Hill Racing in the Nationwide Series of Richmond last week. Chase Elliott almost pulling off his first NASCAR K&N Pro Series East win back on Thursday night at Richmond International Raceway, just losing the race in that exciting finish to Brett Moffitt. And then we had, of course, Chase Elliott finishing 4th at Salem, Indiana, in his one of his first ever career ARCA races. And finally, David Reagan and Reed Sorensen finishing outside the top 30 in their small-time teams in the Cup race at Richmond as well.
All right, well, thanks, Doug, for that all that information. We lead off this week down in Pensacola, Florida, where Flags Speedway held their super late model feature, their second one of the season. Georgia's Mike Garvey stalked Augie Grill in the waning laps of Friday's Blizzard Series super late model event, taking the lead on lap 75 and moving on to score the victory, with fellow Georgian T.J. Reed finishing second, David Rogers third, Bubba Pollard in fourth, and Austin Thoreau fifth. Now, while Garvey was streaking to the win, Grant Enfinger and DJ Vanderlei had several run-ins while running for position over the final 25 laps. Things came to a head after a collision between the two under caution sent both spinning. Now, according to track officials, as Enfinger was trying to exit his car, Vanderlei drove into Enfinger's car. Enfinger was not injured, but security had to be called to separate both crews. Speedway General Manager Tim Bryant announced Monday that Vanderlei, the defending pro late model champ, has been suspended from Flags for the rest of the season. Bryant said in a release on the track's website, quote, "The actions chosen by DJ Vanderlei on Friday night were absolutely unacceptable and will not be tolerated, and we believe only a penalty this severe will let DJ and all other competitors know how serious we are about this." The next night, the super late models were again doing battle, this time at Mobile International Speedway. It looked like Georgia's Bubba Pollard was on his way to another Mobile victory, but with 12 laps to go, Kyle Benjamin scooted past Pollard and pulled away for the win. Pollard held on for second with Chris Davidson third, T.J. Reed fourth, and Stephen Davis in fifth. Other winners on the night included Bubba Pollard in the modified feature, Chad Robinson in Sportsman, and Brandon Tipton in Bombers.
Now let's take a look at some of the dirt track action from this past weekend. The NeSmith Chevrolet Dirt Late Model Series was at Albany Motor Speedway in Albany, Georgia for a two-night stand. On Friday night, William Thomas led only the last 200 feet of the event, making his way around Jack Teague in the final turn of the final lap to pick up the win on Friday night in the Spring Nationals 40. Teague would hold on for second with Chase Edge third, Plains, Georgia's Larry Harrod fourth, and Dawsonville, Georgia's Matthew Turner rounding out the top five. On Saturday night, David Earl Gentry took the lead on lap 19 and stayed out front over the next 22 laps to win the second Spring Nationals feature. Dan Brewer ran second with Dennis Franklin third, William Thomas fourth, and Anthony White in fifth. After being washed out last week, action returned to Senoia Raceway in Senoia, Georgia this week as Joe Armistead Jr. held off a hard charge at Craig Scott until Scott lost a right rear tire, allowing Armistead to move into the late model victory. Todd Darda finished second with Jason Williams third, Dana Island fourth, and Glenn Morris rounding out the top five. Also visiting Senoia's victory lane were Dow Kirkland and B Cadets, Clifton Moran and Hobby Stocks, Brandon Bright and Mini Stocks, and David Johnson and Bombers. Hartwell Speedway in Hartwell, Georgia saw a huge turnout this week with over 103 cars in the pits for their race that night. South Carolina's Colby Cannon scored his first Hartwell victory, scoring the fast-track late model win. He held off Eric Veal for that win, with Danny Sanders in third, Ty Lowe in fourth, and Clay Knight in fifth. Also winning Saturday night was Jimmy Johnson in limited late models, Paul Byram in modified street, Cal Moon in stock V8, Mitchell Godfrey in stock 4-cylinders, Drew Collins in Young Guns, and Jackie Holden in upfronts. And good news for fans of racing at Needmore Speedway in Norman Park, Georgia. Work is underway to get the track ready to go racing on May 19th. Here's a look at some of the work being done down there. That's Keith Kendrick right there on the tractor. And open practice is slated for May 12th with the first race 1 week later.
Back on the blacktop now, where the ARCA Series did battle on the famed high banks of Salem Speedway in Salem, Indiana. Alex Bowman dominated the event, leading 146 of 200 laps en route to the victory. It wasn't as easy as it sounds, though. Bowman had to hold off 9-time Salem winner Frank Kimmel to score the win. Brennan Poole finished third. Chase Elliott, in just his second career ARCA start, finished fourth. And Eric Jones rounded out the top five. A little closer to home now, where Ralph Carnes appeared to have his first late model win of the year in hand in the closing laps at Greenville-Pickens Speedway in Greenville, South Carolina. But with 6 laps to go, Marty Ward made his move, passing Carnes and moving to score his second straight victory. Carnes held on for second with Jeremy Burns third, Anthony Anders fourth, and Will Burns in fifth. Points leader Toby Porter cut a tire on the last lap. He ended up 10th in the final rundown. Other winners included James Johnson in Chargers, Dale Stansel in Renegades, Buck Simmons in 4-cylinders, Tim Lawless in trucks, and David Rader in street stocks. And in Commerce, Georgia, fans and officials are getting ready for the NHRA drag races. The 32nd Annual Summit Racing Southern Nationals are on tap at the Atlanta Dragway. Defending winners Antron Brown, Jack Beckman, Jason Line, and Ellie Tonglet are looking for a return to victory lane in the Tour's only Peach State stop. Meanwhile, Top Fuel racers Morgan Lucas, Mike Neff in Funny Cars, Vincent Noble in Pro Stock, and Pro Stock motorcycle racer Andrew Hines are looking for back-to-back wins after scoring victories last week in Texas. For more on that event, you can visit NHRA.com. Doug, just some terrific racing action this week. Folks, we've got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll sit down and talk with one of Georgia's living racing legends, Georgia Racing Hall of Famer Charlie Mincey. As we go to break, we want to take a minute to pass on our condolences to Georgia Racing Hall of Famer Leon Slick Sells and his family. Leon's wife Linda passed away last week after a bout with cancer. Our thoughts and prayers are with Leon and his family. We'll be right back.